This is really just an excuse to talk about Greta Van Fleet. Gotta be honest. This is a video idea that I've actually had for a while, but I held it off. At some point in this year, we're gonna be getting a new Greta Van Fleet album, so I thought it would be a fun video idea to go ahead and go through their discography and rank each of the albums. First off, before we get too far into this, I wanna give a shout out to the apparel I'm wearing. What side is it on? The Battle at Gardens Gate. I guess it's got a hood on it. Does that make it a hoodie? It's like cropped too. I think it's really cute. I love like the little flowers. So how I want to do this video, I figured it would be easier to kind of go album by album and kind of talk about the projects as individuals, and then at the end I will reveal the overall ranking. A very long, grueling process. I have ranked all of the songs. Hopefully this doesn't need to be a disclaimer, but obviously this is my personal opinion. I'm doing this video for fun, you know, as a way to engage with the fandom and hopefully maybe bring some civil conversation. Hopefully I don't have to disclose that, but you never know, it's the internet. The other thing that I will be doing too at the end of this video, I do want to talk about what has been going on surrounding this album, the different things that we've uncovered and stuff that's happened since the last time I talked about Greta Van Fleet, and what my new updated theories are, because a lot has changed. We'll continue the convo at the end of this video too. Main point of the video is ranking all the songs. So I have my tablet here to assist me. I did pre-rank it because it would be very difficult to do sort of live, because there was a lot of thought that went into this, and honestly, going through and like having to pit songs against each other and decide which ones I liked better was very difficult. It took me all day. It really did. It was a whole day affair. Jumping into it from the Fires, I do have to get something off of my chest before we start. I personally do not consider From the Fires to be their first album. I consider Anthem of the Peaceful Army to be their first album. From the Fires is an EP. I mean, if you go back to 2017, 2018, they always refer to it as an EP. I know that it did win a Grammy for Best Rock Album, but other EPs have won in various Grammy categories as well. There's not really a separate category for EPs, so sometimes they do get nominated. I think Anthem of the Peaceful Army is their first album, okay? That's a hill I'll die on. I really will. So, just getting that off my chest. From the Fires, okay, so from bottom to top, A Change Is Gonna Come, Edge of Darkness, Meet on the Ledge, Safari Song, Flower Power, Highway Tune, get ready for it, Black Smoke Rising, Talk on the Street. Personal opinion, guys, personal opinion. Listen, okay, now let's talk about it. Now let's get into it of why I ranked these. So Change Is Gonna Come was ranked last because it's just generally not a song that I end up going for. I'm not really ever in the car, I'm like, I want to listen to that one. But also it's a cover. And I feel it's kind of difficult to rank covers alongside songs that are written by the artist. Edge of Darkness, I would say, is one that I might listen to more. Same with Meet on the Ledge, but Meet on the Ledge wins just because that is one that when it comes on shuffle, I usually can't skip it. I at least have to listen to the first part of the song. Even though that one too is a cover. Off of the EP, Meet on the Ledge and A Change Is Gonna Come are covers, obviously. So again, that feels weird to rank with the rest, which is why they're towards the bottom. It was actually very hard for me to pick between Highway Tune and Safari Song of like which one that I liked better. I really had to analyze those two side by side because I feel like they kind of come as a pair. When they were releasing singles for From the Fires, or for that whole beginning era, the songs tended to come in pairs, but Highway Tune ended up winning over Safari Song. And I also really love Flower Power. I think that that's an underrated song. It's one of Josh's favorites because he just recently did the live show where he mentioned that it was one of his favorites and that's why he played it. Flower Power is kind of the palate cleanser, I guess, in this ranking. And then my top two, for like loyalty reasons, I kind of wanted to put Black Smoke Rising as the #1 song. On this channel, I will always be honest. I have to speak my truth. Talk on the Street is absolutely my favorite song From the Fires. One of my most listened to Greta Van Fleet songs in general. I fucking love that song, okay? And I do really love Black Smoke Rising. Like, I love it, and it's just such a staple song for them, and it's such a huge fan favorite song. It means a lot to the fan base as well. So of course there are other influencing factors that would put Black Smoke Rising as high as it was, but I have to be honest, and Talk on the Street wins. What can I say? She's that bitch. No further questions. Keep them from the fire short and sweet, and we will move on to their debut album. Yes. Anthem of the Peaceful Army. This particular album was the most fun for me to rank because I feel like I had to kind of go back in time a little bit. It also too, like this entire process just really solidifies that their songs are bangers. Like it's so difficult to rank because they're all so good. And I really had to go through like 3-4 times to try to actually make sure that I had them in the correct order. Once again, top to bottom, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to say this. This actually makes me feel bad. At the bottom of the pyramid, we've got You're the One. And I'm gonna move on from that very quickly before anybody shoots me. But You're the One, The Cold Wind, Watching Over, Mountain of the Sun. I put Lover, Leaver, Taker, Believer as one song because it really is just Lover, Leaver, and then the extended version, Taker, Believer. And then top 5, Anthem, Brave New World, The New Day, When the Curtain Falls, Age of Man. If I think about Age of Man for too long, I will start to cry. I love that song. Okay. You're the One is a good song. It's also a very memed song in this fan base, but I just don't listen to it that much. The Cold Wind is the kind of another thing. I have a very neutral opinion of that one, and then Watching Over. I mean, every Greta Van Fleet song has its catchy points. And has like the earworms that get stuck in your head. And those songs definitely do, but not as much as the others. Like when we start getting up to Brave New World, oh, that song is life-changing. Oh, you put that on and it like, I am transported to another planet. I mean, it's just such a good album. I really do like a lot of the songs. Like Lover, Leaver, Taker, Believer. That is like, it's on so many playlists of mine because it just like, you gotta lock in. Like that song is so good. Anthem, that song has a very special place in my heart. One of my particular favorite things about it is that you can very clearly hear all 4 of the boys sing on that track. I can listen to it and pick out like, oh, that's Jake's voice, that's Danny's voice. And then obviously, you know, you can always hear Josh's, but the song always puts me in a good mood. It makes me very sentimental, and then every time that you get to the last chorus and you can hear all of them. Really love Anthem. Brave New World is just a banger, okay? I can't get enough of that song. It's like crack, okay? Also too, one of my personal favorite songs, one that I just have a huge personal connection to, and I don't know, other people probably don't feel as strongly about this song as I do, but I love The New Day. So much so, I have it tattooed. I have a tattoo for every single Greta Van Fleet album. When I was thinking about what tattoo I was gonna get for Anthem of the Peaceful Army, like that song just kept coming back to my mind because again, I just personally have a really strong connection to it. I don't think I really ever hear anybody talk about that song, so I feel like I might be like, that might be my like my hot take or something, but I stand by it. When the Curtain Falls. When the motherfucking curtain falls, okay? One of their best songs, and I will say, all right, there's a lot of debate of people saying, if somebody is gonna listen to Greta Van Fleet for the first time, like what songs would you recommend? I do have a playlist that I share with people, by the way. But like if you can only recommend like 1 or 2 songs, the one that I always say to go to is When the Curtain Falls. One of their best songs, everybody that listens to loves it, and I really think it sets the tone of what Greta Van Fleet is. Lyrically, sonically, like it's just a very good baseline for Greta Van Fleet. Because like sometimes people will suggest things like Age of Man and Weight of Dreams. I'm like, that is too much for a newbie. I'd probably recommend like Heat Above long before Age of Man. It's the top song here, okay? It's one of my favorite songs of all time, but I would never recommend that to be the first song somebody listens to because you have to get it. You have to understand the message of Greta Van Fleet in order for Age of Man to hit the way that it is supposed to. If you only get one shot, if somebody's only gonna listen to one song, or if you know that you have to verbally tell somebody something and hope that they go and listen to it on their own, I always pick When the Curtain Falls. And it wins every time. I'm just saying, anybody that I have recommended that or played that for is like, this is really good. I know, they are. And then, like I said, Age of Man is number 1. It's one of the best highs you will ever experience. No drug can compare, okay? That is Anthem of the Peaceful Army. Moving on to, I think it's pretty obvious, my favorite Greta Van Fleet album, The Battle at Garden's Gate. I actually mean favorite album of all time. It is in my top 10 desert island albums. It's in my top 5 desert island albums. I had a brain glitch there. One more time. It is in my top 5 desert island albums. If they're like, you can only listen to 10 or 5 albums for the rest of your life, or whatever the prompt is, you can listen to 3, you can listen to, you know, and if they said you can only listen to 1 album for the rest of your life, you know what I would probably say? The Battle at Garden's Gate. To pick my top tracks was very easy, but then when it came to having to pick the least favorite, the lowest ranking one, that was hard, because this album is a 10 out of 10, 5 stars, 0 skip album. I love every single song on this album with every bone in my body, with every corner of my soul. So it feels wrong to put something last. So please understand that I deeply love this song, but I did my little ranking system and I pitted them against each other, and it ended up being Tears of Rain. That doesn't feel right. It hurts, but statistically, it's the one that gets played the least. Age of the Machine, Weight of Dreams, Built by Nation, Broken Bells, Heat Above, Light My Love, The Barbarians, Caravel, My Way Soon, Stardust Chords, and Trip the Light Fantastic. We have to go in order, even though I really want to talk about the ones at the top first. The only thing that I will be honest about that may get me pretend canceled is I like Age of the Machine, I do, but some people love Age of the Machine. Weight of Dreams is so good. I think it's a hard to digest song for newbies of Greta Van Fleet because it's so long. Like, you have to be in the right headspace to listen to Weight of Dreams. I feel like you can't just put it on, because you have to be correctly calibrated to listen to that song, because it's a journey, it's an experience. I love Built by Nations. Broken Bells, such a good freaking song, and also one of, if not maybe my favorite live performance by them is, well, really the entirety of the Candlelight Sessions, but Broken Bells is the top. Like, there's actually been times, and my friends can, I was gonna say testify, that feels like a really strong word, but they can back me up on it, that like there have been times where out of the blue I'm like, I'm gonna listen to Broken Bells, the Candlelight Session. Like, I'll just be like, yeah, now's the time. Let's put that on the TV. They're used to it by now. But it's so good. Heat Above. Love the song. Great song. Strong song. An amazing single. Everybody loves that song. That's another one too, if you're trying to get somebody into Greta Van Fleet for the first time. If you know your friend well enough to think that they could be into that kind of thing. Because like I said, I think When the Curtain Falls is a little bit more easily digestible. But if you have the right friend, Heat Above is a good recommendation as well. But I remember one of like the most proud moments I've ever had of my friends, because everybody knows that I like Greta Van Fleet. I mean, I have friends that are Gresties, friends that like I go to the shows with, and then I have friends that know I like Greta Van Fleet and are supportive of it, but are not fans themselves. One of those friends, we were getting ready for an event at the hotel, and I just remember like I'm doing my makeup and we were like playing music or whatever. My friend, she turns to me and she goes, "Can we play that Greta Van Fleet song, the Heat Above one?" And I was like, I looked at her and I was like, of course we can play Heat Above! And I like scrambled to my phone to change the song. Honestly, anytime that I hear Heat Above now, that particular moment does come to mind, because it was so cute and fun. But anyway, I will say it was also very difficult to pit against Light My Love. I had a hard time with that one really of ranking it, because it's such a moment for the fan base. Like, that song is just very important in the sort of like fan-artist relationship. I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you are a Greta Van Fleet fan, so I don't think I have to go into a lot of that kind of stuff. But because I wanted to make sure I wasn't being biased based on circumstance, like I was like, okay, but comparatively the song, like remove that connection to it, and like let's still make sure that we ranked it correctly. I feel like it landed in a pretty good spot. Light My Love was a very hard one to place. Okay, top 5. I have to shout out The Barbarians. I love that song so much. And it's also like, it always makes my top most played songs out of the year. Caravel. Caravel. Actually, that was one of the things too when you want to talk about Greta songs that I think come in pairs. Heat Above and Caravel. And dare I say, I like Caravel more than I like Heat Above. Which one made more sense as a single, is up to interpretation. I'm not going to argue with choices. But Caravel's so good. It's such a good song. And that guitar part is dirty. Damn. That song fucks. That's anyway, probably not one of the strangest things I've said on this channel. My Way Soon, that song is very important to me. I feel it with every bone in my body, and it's also just one that I have on a lot of playlists. It is one that I had considered as a tattoo, because like I said, I have a tattoo for every single album. It's one that was a very high contender. Obviously, there are 2 songs that are above it, so, it might be a little bit evident that one of those songs went out. But it was also because it fit with the tattoo idea that I had. This was the first Greta Van Fleet tattoo that I ever got. Stardust Chords, obviously, has always been a top song for me. And I love the visuals that are described in the lyrics. When I went to the tattoo artist, I had pulled lines from that song and I was like, play around with it, have fun, what do you see? It was a combination of roses in the bush cut down at the garden's gate and planting a score of infantry vines. It was a combination of those 2 lines. She started to do these rose vines that interweaved with the tattoo. It's so evident, if you know Greta Van Fleet, obviously you will recognize the garden gate because it's their fucking album cover. But then it had that nice personal touch of the roses. And then the last thing that I added in there was the symbol for Stardust Chords because it inspired the tattoo. And I also think that the symbol for it kind of looks like a gate. So I think it fit really well within the tattoo. So there were a lot of things that went into that overall design. But going back to the song rankings, as far as the song rankings go, it was neck and neck for Stardust Chords or Trip the Light. What are you doing? Okay, are you here to say hi? This is my son Louie, and he does make an appearance in every single one of my videos. So he always has to say hi. He's a very good boy. A lot of the times he's actually sitting down at my feet, and you just can't see him in the camera frame, but sometimes he has to do this. Can he be on camera? Lay down. Okay, stay. It was pretty much neck and neck of whether Stardust Chords or Trip the Light would take the #1 spot. And a lot of the times too, I really struggled with it. It was one of those situations where if I had just listened to Trip the Light, I would say that's my favorite song. But then if you play me Stardust Chords, then I would say that was my favorite song. And so I really had to think about it, and they're neck and neck for me. But I made my decision and I'm gonna stick by it, and I said what I said. So that's it. So that is the Battle at Gardens Gate ranked. Last but certainly not least, and I do mean that, we have Starcatcher. Now, just like From the Fires, I think that this album also comes with a different little disclaimer, but I'm a little defensive of Starcatcher, okay? I especially really love the era of Starcatcher. I loved that tour, I loved the visuals, and I think it is okay for artists to experiment, and it's okay for them to have that funky album. Every artist does it. It can be a refresh, it could just be, they want to try something new. I do think also, obviously, this album and era had a lot of influence from Elton John. Elton John was the one that told them to dress like that and sound like that and have a tour like that. It's a lot of his influence. And that was his personal opinion. And what, you're going to tell Elton John that he's wrong? Take it up. If you don't like this album, take it up with Elton John. How about that, okay? I do really like Starcatcher. And there are songs on this album that I cannot live without, okay? So even though there might be some songs that were kind of meh, it's not a zero skips album, but it's not a bad album. But anyway, okay. For Starcatcher, we have Fate of the Faithful, Frozen Light, Farewell for Now, The Indigo Streak, The Falling Sky, Runway Blues, Sacred the Thread, Waited All Your Life, Meeting the Master, and Mona Lisa herself, The Archer. Should we talk about the tattoo? No, okay. Starting at the bottom. So Fate of the Faithful, I know it's the opening track on the album. I do think it's the weakest track. I was gonna say it's the weakest track. I understand the point of setting the tone. This album has a lot of sort of that, I don't want to say religious comparison because I think religious has become such a tainted word, but a spiritual sort of parallel to it. Songs like Fate the Faithful, Waited All Your Life, Meeting the Master, those songs specifically all kind of have that cohesiveness. Yeah, I just never really listened to that one, I'm being honest. Frozen Light, I think most of the time I get about halfway through that song before I skip it. But those are the only two that I really feel meh about, because then at number 8 we have Farewell for Now, and I do really like that song. I think we realized in hindsight how much they really meant that, because you know it had been 3 years since they've come out with new songs, so they really said like, we going on a hiatus. Obviously Mirador, we all know. Okay, the Indigo Streak, so that's one where I realized, how do I feel about that song? And then I had to listen to it and I was like, that chorus is pretty catchy, and like it was really fun live. Falling Sky is a good upbeat one. Runway Blues we were robbed on, and were we not supposed to get an extended version in my friend group? And mind you, these are also including the people that like know about Greta but don't listen to them, but they, you know, secondhand smoke type situation. In my friend group, it is become such a joke of any time another artist does a song that it was cut off too quickly, where like we wanted more of that song, we go, they Runway Bluesed us. Because we'll be listening to a song and we'll be really into it, and then it's over and you're like, what happened to that? I definitely could have listened to at least another 2 minutes of that song. They Runway Bluesed us. Shame. I do really like Sacred the Thread. I especially love the meaning of it. Like the ritual of getting ready for a show or powering down from a show. Like all artists have rituals to get, you know, for both sides of the spectrum. But anyway, it's a really good song and I think it's an interesting concept. And then top 3, okay, like I said at the beginning of talking about Starcatcher, these top 3 I cannot live without. These are my ride or die songs, okay? Waited All Your Life, I will absolutely cry. It takes me back to the Starcatcher tour specifically, anytime that I listen to it, and I'm sobbing. So that song, actually, I have to be selective about when I play it. Same exact thing with Meet the Master. I cannot just casually put that song on because I will be sobbing. I'm not joking. And it's vocally too, it's one of my favorites for Josh. I just love that song. I don't know how to, I just feel like I can't say it enough because I don't know how to describe to you how much that I really, really love that song. But that being said, on a completely different scale, my number 1 song off of this album is The Archer. That song, I don't want to give spoilers, but I cannot help it. It's my favorite Greta Van Fleet song. It's my favorite Greta Van Fleet song. It wins over everything, and I have to say that because I need you to understand. So that was actually the tattoo that I got for the Starcatcher album. And it is funny because it actually is it's a duo tattoo, because another one of my favorite artists also has a song called The Archer. So I sent the tattoo artist like mood boards for each one, and I was like, this is the aesthetic of this album, this is the aesthetic of Starcatcher. I wanted the bow and arrows to like reflect the aesthetics of each of the albums. One that if you look at it, you may or may not, like, I don't feel like you'll catch it as easy. Now I did, one of my favorite details on it that I'm so happy that I thought about is I did put the A logo as the arrowhead, because I'm a fucking genius. Favorite Greta Van Fleet song, one of my favorite songs of all time. With that being said, we can get to the point where I can rank all 40. The songs will be very interwoven, but I do think like you'll kind of notice that some albums sit heavier at different placements, and that I think can kind of show you what I was talking about how I rank the albums in general. So in case you wanted to see, in case you were curious, here it goes. Okay, A Change Is Gonna Come, Fate of the Faithful, You're the One, The Cold Wind, Tears of Rain, Frozen Light, Age of the Machine, Edge of Darkness, Meet on the Ledge, Farewell for Now, Safari Song, Flower Power, Watching Over, Mountain of the Sun, The Indigo Streak, The Falling Sky, Runway Blues, Sacred the Thread, Waited All Your Life, Weight of Dreams, Lover, Leaver, Taker, Believer, Anthem, Built by Nations, Highway Tune, Black Smoke Rising, Broken Bells, Heat Above, Light My Love, Brave New World, The Barbarians. Now, top 10. The New Day, Talk on the Street, Caravel, Meeting the Master, My Way Soon, Stardust Chords, When the Curtain Falls, Trip the Light Fantastic, Age of Man, The Archer. And that was done again, via a ranking system. And why I even have like a little Google Doc about it is because it took me an entire day. It took me an entire day to do that. So that is everything. That is the core of the video. But we're not done yet, because before I go, let's talk about the new album. So, oh my gosh, where to begin? Where to begin, guys? Okay. If you had seen the video of me reacting to the Play Your Games music video, I went over some theories in that. And I will tell you, I was so certain about timelines because they were following a very consistent pattern. Now, I will tell you, like, industry standard usually, which, you know, Greta never really does anything conventionally, but they are under a label, so kind of am assuming that they would be following something close to the schedule of their peers, because there is a formula that these record labels are using for promotion. Typically, an album comes out 3 months after the first single, okay? And they have been teasing Play Your Games for 2 weeks before it actually dropped. An artist usually releases the first single, then about a month later they release the second one, and then a month after that release the album and do the third and sometimes final single. It depends on how many music videos that they intend to do for the project. They were like following this formula, and then they got to the 1 month mark and they started teasing Saw You Stand, which we know the title is Saw You Stand because going back to the New York live show, Jake was throwing guitar picks out into the audience and fans had noticed that they had song titles on them. So Saw You Stand, they had started to tease that. Now, if they had kept following the formula with Play Your Games, the song should have come out 4th of July weekend. For some reason, they broke their pattern. Greta was also doing a thing where they were posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday consistently ever since they announced the album. But then again, 4th of July weekend, they broke that post pattern and they skipped Friday. And then they didn't do anything until like the following Tuesday. And so I don't know if something happened. Sam also went on an interview recently where he talked about that they don't have a release date for the album. Those were things that he actually said. Let me put in a clip.
And when does the album drop?
We don't have a
release date yet.
for that
Okay.
yet.
So I wonder if something is going on with the label, or if their album got pushed for some reason. But like, it's not normal for artists to tease albums for this long without announcing it. Like, they would at least have announced a title. Also too, unfortunately, the title did leak. There was an interview that the boys did where Jake had said the name of the album and it got released before it was intended to. I would think too, if something like that got leaked, would that not encourage the artist to announce it sooner? I don't know. There's something weird going on, and I was so, like, they were following such a consistent pattern, and then all of a sudden for it to be broken, I'm so confused. I don't know what's happening. At this point, I think we're lucky if we get the album this year. And I don't think, to crush this other dream of mine, I don't think they're gonna go on tour this year. Because if they had followed the pattern, the album would have come out sometime in August, and then they probably could have gone on tour as early as November. But now at this point, with us being in July, I really think an August release date is out of the question. Now, could be wrong. If they announce the album this Friday, just randomly decide to do it, I could see it still being released the last week of August or the first week of September. They were teasing Saw You Stand for 2 weeks and then didn't release it. And now they've also posted a clip from a new song, which presumably the title was also found on a guitar pick. Everything is so confusing and I don't know what's going on anymore. I just want the album. Guys, I just really want the album because it sounds so good. I'm already obsessed with what we heard. Like, Play Your Games was great, but I feel like every song that they've teased since has just gotten better and better, because you'll remember from the last video, I had talked about how they played Tear It Down at the New York live show, and I'm obsessed with that song. And then they started teasing Saw You Stand, and some people have been comparing this to like sonically, there's a lot of things that sound like Battle at Garden's Gate, or maybe saying that it's like reminds them of Weight of Dreams, or there was another song that it was compared to, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. But anyway, but now they're teasing Aya, and that sounds so weird that that's a song title, but it is. And I really love that one too. Like, I've been listening to that same clip on repeat because it's so good and it's so catchy. Some of my friends have also said that it's like kind of reminiscent of how Mirador sounds, so jokingly I've been calling it the Mirador Vault track. but we don't know. I mean, Sam said in that same interview that he recently did that Play Your Games was a demo that they recorded in 2016. So, and we know historically those boys hold on to shit. So who knows how old any of these songs are. Either way, I love everything that they've teased so far, and I do think like there's already been some good albums that have come out this year. There's a few more that I think are top contenders for like my personal album of the year. I think it's too early to try to say what I think will be my favorite album of the year, and we don't have this one, but everything that I've heard so far has been a 10 out of 10. Like, it's crazy to say I think Play Your Games could be the weakest song on the album, but that, I mean, if it is though, that makes it another Zero Skips album. Like, that's another 10 out of 10. Does it have the potential to dethrone The Battle at Garden's Gate? I don't know, we have to see, but I've really loved what we've heard so far, and I would love to see like what the themes are and like the narratives that we're carrying. I want to know like what the tour looks like, because there's also too, one of the things that's pretty evident, I would say as well, is there's a color scheme to this album. Black and red with a hint of white. I think white is like an accent color, but I think for the most part, but actually, which matches my nails, speaking of, not intentional. I also love too that they did the Play Your Games vinyl single. And Sam confirmed, he didn't say what was on the B-side, but there is something else related to the album on the B-side. I can't remember what the website description had said, but it definitely said like demo version or something weird like that. Like, it really made it seem like it was just another version of Play Your Games, but that actually should be shipping. I think it ships at the beginning of August, so probably in the next like 3 weeks to a month. I'm like 99.9% sure that this is their first 7-inch single vinyl. So oh yeah, Sam also hinted today that potentially we could look out for more live shows, for more pop-up shows. Like, I don't think that they're going on tour this year. I think a organized tour is not in the future, because like I said, I think we're lucky if we get the album this year at this point. Gosh, guys, come on. But kind of, it honestly reminds me of like Strange Horizons, when they did that set of shows. And so, but I mean, they could be revisiting those same cities, which was, what was it, Nashville, New York, Chicago, and what was the fourth one? My brain wants to say San Antonio, but I know that that is not correct. Gosh, if they wanted to play in San Antonio, they need some help. I'm from Texas, so I'm allowed to say that. But I think at this point I am truly rambling, so maybe I should wrap it up. You can expect plenty more Greta Van Fleet content on this channel. Speaking of which, I've been hard at work making keychains for the parking lot party. So if you want to check that out as well, I will be going to the House of Greta parking lot party in Frankenmuth, Michigan again this year. But yeah, look out for the parking lot party video and album reactions and tour vlogs whenever those actually happened. That being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Hi. Turn around. Thank you for watching. Bye.